Listen, there are a lot of outside factors in this match.
You personally, what do you do with Tessa Blanchard if you were the booker of TNA?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I would probably have never brought her back to begin with, but is TNA desperate to have anybody come back to do that? You know, because she came back right before the deal was announced with WWE, correct?
Yeah.
So what do? I mean, she's not going to be on NXT or WWE, but stranger things have happened. But I don't think in this day and age with this kind of thing, that would be. Now, in the older days of wrestling, what would you do? Well, you would give her a racist gimmick on TV. That's what you do way, way, way back. But you can't do that anymore. And I don't think she's going to be in TNA very long. I think she will probably go back to Mexico, because if the TNA WWE deal didn't happen, I can see them ignoring it for longer. But if WWE, like I said before, gets a hold or gets word, which, by the way, there's plenty of stooges out there in both companies. So they get word of that, I think she's gone a lot sooner than later.
That was Stevie Richards opining on what is clearly, some would say, clearly a boneheaded move on the part of TNA to bring Tessa Blanchard back into the company. Now, Jordynne Grace was on her way out. I could see their path here, you know, obviously with the match at Genesis or whatever it was. I can see their thinking that we need to replace Jordynne Grace with another top female star that has that kind of credibility and that kind of, not necessarily the same look, but you know, Tessa's a big chick compared to a lot of other little chicks. Very credible looking, and it doesn't hurt that she competed in the men's division and won the TNA title, and that was another whole weird thing. But bringing this girl back when she's got such nuclear heat on her still, and now this was before they signed their deal with WWE, and as Stevie said, if WWE catches wind of this, and it comes to whether, you know, it's get rid of Tessa or we're ending our partnership with TNA as a whole, they're going to get rid of Tessa. Like that. They're not going to hold on to her because she's never been loyal to them or anybody else anyway. She's left so many companies, just woken up one day and been like, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling it today, brother. She's a bitch backstage. She's rude to people. She thinks she's better than everybody, and she says racist shit. This is not just one person who has reported this. This is multiple people, including Chelsea Green, your United States champion in WWE. And she's a very credible source, in my opinion. And there's a lot of others who have shared the locker room with Tessa that just don't like her because of this kind of stupid shit. And on top of that, Tessa Blanchard has never apologized, kind of denied. She's never really owned this. She's always kind of kept that attitude, well, you know, people like to talk shit and people on the internet believe it and whatever. I don't care. I know who I am and blah, blah, blah. Well, they're just jelly, blah, blah, blah. This was her doing an interview about a week or so ago with WrestleBinge on Sportskeeda, where, you know, she was asked about coming back in after all the stuff. And her whole take was basically, haters gonna hate.
Now, coming into this, obviously, there was a lot of reaction to you being there. And there was a lot of people in that locker room. And obviously, Jordynne Grace, who you're going to be in the ring with, had some very much resentment to the idea of you being there. How do you address that as a performer and enter that situation? And did you know some of that would be there? And obviously, does that amplify the situation with this match coming up here on January 19th?
Well, first and foremost, I think that a lot of people, you could tell them that the sky is green and that they would believe it. There's a lot of stories and there's a lot of things out there that I read it and I'm like, this came out of left field. Like, I don't even know where they cooked this up. There's some stories where there's like 20% truth to something, and then some things that got completely twisted into telephone, telewrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as the locker room, there's some people who might feel, everyone's going to feel something. They're going to think something. A lot of people were fed a story from someone that's no longer with the company that's completely not true and completely manipulated into something that it wasn't. And now the conversations that I need to have or feel that I need to have, I'm having them. And because there's a lot of one-sided things out in the public, and my side has never really been told. My side of things has never really been shared with a lot of these people. When I left wrestling for around 3 years, I was in a mental state where I didn't want to see a wrestling ring. I didn't want to talk about wrestling. I didn't want to see anyone that had to do with the wrestling world.
So that was Tessa all, oh, you don't know my side of the story. Oh, they're just rumors and people just say things and you believe them on the internet. And only a little bit of that's true. And the rest of it's all made up bullshit. Woe is me, but now I'm back and blah, 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 blah. For those who are unaware of exactly what happened, she said and did some racist shit. The big one was an incident in Japan where there was a botch in the ring or something like that. And backstage, Tessa let this chick have it. And in letting this chick have it, she spit on her and called her, dropped an N-bomb, essentially. And you can hear this from her own words. This other woman was La Rosa Negra. I mean, I've said this. Hopefully I said that very clear so I don't get canceled like Tessa Blanchard did. That's her name. She was on this podcast. I want to give proper credit. This was Duke Loves Wrestling. This was on YouTube 4 years ago. I'm just going to go ahead and play you that clip so you can hear it in her own words what Tessa did to her, what started all of this.
Did these things happen to you? Did Tessa Blanchard call you derogatory names and spit on you? What the hell happened?
Mira, eso es verdad. La historia que se dijo en Twitter es real, Albert.
So the story that you guys have read on Twitter, all of that is 100% true.
100% true. Okay, first of all, and I don't know why she does that. I didn't have problem with her before this accident happens. Not like that, no. She was a person who really do not control herself when she acting like ignorante, como una niña,
Very ignorant and childish.
Yes, so when she spit my face, before she insult me and told me N-words and more stuff, because not just the N-word. Also, you know what? The problem wasn't like she spit my face or whatever word she told me. The problem here was like in 2017, April, ella quitó un plato de comida de un hogar, like she took the plate.
She took a plate of food away from somebody.
So there you heard it from her own mouth, exactly what happened. And of course, this was backed up by several female talents, which started a firestorm online when Tessa Blanchard did an interview with Fightful and was complaining about, oh, woe is me. The whole everybody that's ever worked with Tessa Blanchard came out and attacked her on Twitter. Here's the boys over at Cultaholic with a little bit of that just to kind of catch you up to speed.
And this all comes from last year when Chelsea Green responded to a Fightful article about Tessa Blanchard discussing her personal struggles following her release from TNA as a result of these allegations of racism and bullying backstage. And in response to all of that, Chelsea Green tweeted, "I don't wish self-harm or these sort of thoughts on anybody, and I hope that she's found peace. However, a simple I am sorry goes a long way, and we haven't heard that yet. Accountability matters, and a redemption tour of interviews won't erase the actions of an egotistical bully." So that's what all led to this. It's all resurfaced again because Tessa Blanchard's back in TNA.
Yeah, and there's more than one person saying that sort of thing. So yeah, there's no smoke without fire, that old saying, isn't there? So yeah,
it's not a great look.
So now that we're all fully up to speed on what exactly was going on with Tessa Blanchard, what she said, why everybody hates her, what Tessa Blanchard has had to say in response to all of it, which is basically nothing, after hearing all of this and knowing all of this and all of the hate that the world gives a Hulk Hogan, for example, for the racist stuff, Tessa Blanchard getting the racist stuff thrown at her, one person seems to be sticking up for Tessa Blanchard in all of this mess, and it's Jim Cornette.
But did you hear about the controversy with Tessa Blanchard?
Her in-ring has always been great, and it was great apparently on this return match. People were raving about it. But the entire audience started chanting. I mean, it was a loud chant from what I understand. She's a racist.
But why would these weasels do that? Why would you do that? Because you don't know this girl. You've never met this girl, and she's having a good match on a show that probably needs some of them. And she's a racist because that's an audience participation thing you can join in on, even though you have no factual knowledge of that. Otherwise, what a bunch of other fucking people have said in the fucking locker room. And I'm sorry, we have Hogan on tape.
Let's not pretend she didn't say. I don't even think she's denying that she didn't say these things. Is she?
But I don't know what exact things. But
she threw the N-word around in a fight with another wrestler.
Okay, and in what context? Did she just drop her on her head or kick her in the fucking face? Were they about to be pulled apart? Or is she just walking in that day going, well, you fucking stupid?
But the problem is if that happens on top of other incidents, and again, when it came out, it was like one girl after another. Yep, this happened to me. She spit at me. We had an incident here. She bullied us. And again, if it comes to the point where removing the doctor from the locker room makes the locker room a little happier and makes everything run a little smoother and it's not going to hurt the business, you have to think about it. Sometimes someone's too big of a pain in the ass.
So you see, it's really just all about the context. Did she just walk in the locker room going, you're a this and you're a that to everybody and just flinging them around? Or did this girl drop her on her head or kick her in the teeth? In which case, throw an N-word at her and spit on her. Fair game. At least Brian Last had a little bit of sense to kind of check him a little bit, but nobody calls Corny out on this kind of stuff. The double standard, too. The way that this guy talks about this evil devil, this horrible orange maniac running the country of Donald Trump that he's so scared of with his Trump derangement syndrome. And everybody's a racist and had a great big laugh about Hulk Hogan. But you see, we had Hulk Hogan on tape. That's the difference. If Tessa Blanchard was secretly recorded, then condemn her all to hell. But it was behind the scenes. Nobody was listening. And the girl probably dropped her on her head. So she deserved it, right? She deserves a little N-word or a little spit in the face for accidentally stiffing me a little bit. But we have Hulk on tape, so it's different. It's different. Guys, it's a different thing. When Hulk said it, he didn't know he was being recorded, but he was being recorded. It was a private conversation, but he didn't know he was being recorded, but he was being recorded. And it got leaked to the public, so fuck him. But Tessa Blanchard, nobody recorded that, you see. Nobody had their phone out. Nobody's got it on record. Nobody released it anywhere. So, really, who cares? She's such a good wrestler, though. Come on. I'm disappointed in Corny. I mean, for as liberal as he is what I'm trying to get at. He just doesn't help himself with all of the racist stuff. Going back to getting fired from Ring of Honor for chasing him like a bucket of chicken comments and stuff like that. And I know he's older and he's Southern and you know what? But he's also like a giant bleeding heart liberal. So it's really contradictory. And, he hates on Hulk Hogan, but he's sticking up for Tessa. And there's zero difference other than one was recorded and one wasn't. Oh, and one happened to, campaign for Donald Trump, and the other is a really good wrestler that Cornette is really fond of, because there's not many great girl wrestlers in Cornette's opinion, but she's one of them, damn it. So they got to do something with her, and who cares what she said backstage. Super disappointing for Corny. You know, I'm not going to go as far as like call him a racist or not listen to him or anything. It's disappointing to hear that that's his take on this. I think when the general consensus is that, yes, this was said, yes, she is a racist or said racist shit and never really apologized at all. She didn't do the half-assed apology tour that Hulk Hogan did. She just like, I was suicidal. I was in a bad place. You don't know my side of the story. What was your side of the story? Oh, I was in a bad place and this chick dropped me on my head. And no, there's no excuse for that. I don't care how mad I get at a coworker. I will never go up to them and shout racial slurs at them and spit on them. Wrestling's not different. This isn't the 1970s, 80s, early mid-80s fucking territory locker room that Jim Cornette still likes to think that wrestling should be. This is not what this is anymore. This is a professional business that the girls have all unanimously said, you know what, fuck that girl. But the new owners in their infinite wisdom of TNA, or the new creative, I guess it's always been Anthem for a while, but you know, the people that have taken over for Scott D'Amore in their infinite wisdom saw that, oh, Jordan Grace is leaving, let's bring back Tessa Blanchard. It'll be great. Who cares? And we'll just ignore it. The chants are going to continue. It's not going to go away. And as soon as if WWE decides that that's going to not be a good look for their partnership with TNA, Tessa's going to be on the outs. And I wouldn't think twice. I wouldn't hesitate to do that, because Tessa's dropped TNA like a bad habit when she was their goddamn champion after they put her over a guy. She was like, nah, you know what? Fuck you guys. I'm not coming back. I'm going to Mexico. So, yeah, fuck Tessa. I mean, you know, if they want to give it a try, but it's not going to go away. The chance will continue and the heat will continue, and eventually something's going to have to give, and it's going to be her. She's going to go bye-bye. And anybody sticking up for her for this, you know, it's pretty well documented. This isn't really up for debate whether she did it or not. So now you're just defending that it's okay for her to do this under certain conditions, or it's okay for her to do this because she's a really good wrestler. No, none of that flies. None of that passes my sniff test. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in your comments below. And please feel free to speak freely. I'm not an uptight douchebag where, you know, if your take is, yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and Corny's right to stick up for her, I'm not going to be like, well, you're a racist. No, this is a free speech zone, and you are welcome to have whatever opinion you want to have. But that's my take, man. My take is I wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole, and fuck her. Fuck Tessa Blanchard.
Let me tell you something, brother. Thanks for watching the video. Check out more great clips by hitting that subscribe button, dude. And while you're there, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to say your prayers and eat your vitamins, brother.